A flood threat with several more days of heavy rain continues for some of you, and a very interesting weather feature to talk about. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here with you at Meteo Mundo on this Monday, April the 15th. Hope you've been having a nice start to the week. Hope you had a nice weekend. Coming up, we do have to discuss a flooding threat for many island locations as heavy rain continues. We're going to talk about a very interesting weather feature and break down the forecast for the rest of the week across the Caribbean and the Bahamas. Thank you so much for finding us here at Meteo Mundo. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button. We'll get right into the forecast for you. So on this Monday afternoon, looking at the broad perspective first here, we have our visible satellite imagery, we have our current temperatures, and on this Monday afternoon, it is very area dependent. We have some 70s, we have some 80s, we have some upper 90s outside. Now, I do want to focus in on the area that continues to get some extremely wet conditions. And it's very clear to see where this is. This is going to be portions of the Greater Antilles and the Leeward Islands. This would include places like Anguilla and St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Martin, St. Bartholomew, Antigua Barbuda, but especially the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and Hispaniola, especially on the eastern sides towards the Dominican Republic. There is a trough that is right over this area, and underneath this thick cloud coverage, we have seen some extremely heavy rain. Obviously, temperatures are down. No, it's not 43 degrees in Road Town right now, but you get the idea that these thick clouds right now over the northern Leeward Islands continue to bring waves of showers. It's a southeast wind, and as these showers move across the islands, temperatures will drop and Anguilla back down to 75 degrees here in the mid-afternoon hours. Obviously much cooler than what we would expect, but these are thick clouds, and it has just been extremely wet in this area. In this area, especially the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, will see a flood threat as several more days of rain is likely. You can almost see how these clouds are moving in two different directions. We have low-level winds from the southeast. We have some mid-level winds coming out of the west. There's a lot of moisture. That wind convergence provides lift in the atmosphere. And as these thick clouds roll across, we've had some areas of heavier rain. Temperatures have obviously come down in a lot of the islands because of that. And it's the same situation over in Hispaniola. And that does include the Haiti side. The rain has been a little bit more prominent in the Dominican Republic. You can see Punta Cana dropping back down into the 70s once the showers have moved through. It's very clear to see where some of the heavier spots of rain are. Now, it's not just that. Let me switch over to the wind gusts as well. And I'm actually going to bring on our buoy data. So there's a couple different things I'm going to do here real quickly. I'm going to bring on the wind gusts and then the buoy data here. So let's see if I can get rid of the temperatures. Might have to drop that off for just 1 second. And then bring that back on. There we go. Oh, here's the buoy data. Okay, it's on, but it's on the air temperatures. That's what my problem was. All right, so what you're looking at is a combination of on-island sensors and then buoy data out in the Caribbean and the Atlantic. These are wind gusts over the last 6 hours. First of all, again, this is a very interesting weather feature for mid-April. No, it's not going to develop anything tropical, but we're going to talk about some broad rotation that's coming out of this. Now, it's going to be moving north and east away from the islands, but it's going to be situated close enough to the northern Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic for heavy rain to continue to develop on the south side of this at least through Wednesday morning. And you can see the wind gusts associated with it as well. Some of the strongest wind gusts we have are actually away from where we've actually had the concentration of heaviest rain. Montserrat in the morning hours had a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust. St. Bartholomew, a 35. It's been extremely windy there. Small craft advisories are in effect for the northern side of the Leeward Islands. It's breezy through the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands as well. You can see just almost kind of a consistent gust of 20 to 25, maybe even slightly higher as these waves of showers come through. Now, the other thing about this, friends, is it's April, but the moisture content in the atmosphere is high. And not only that, we're actually going to see the upper levels of the atmosphere cool a little bit. You know what that means? It pumps in more instability. We're going to have some thunderstorms developing in this part of our area starting later today, especially tomorrow and through early on Wednesday. So we put all of this together, and we're going to have the potential for some heavier rain. I'm going to show you the models coming up in just a minute. But let's talk about the here and now for these areas. Here's the hazardous weather. For Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti, several inches of rain expected between now and Wednesday morning, on top of what you've already seen, which in some areas have been significant. Strong to even severe thunderstorms are possible. This could lead to localized flash flooding, quick river rises, and in some areas, landslides. Now again, not all of these areas have all of these hazards present, but you know where you live, you know some of the water impacts you can see when you get a quick few inches of rain. Please take extra precaution in this area. Now, the Northern Leeward Islands and the British Virgin Islands, no actual statements from your governments, but that being said, it doesn't mean that you won't see some heavier rain and could not get into at least some isolated flooding issues over the next few days as well. I think the bulk of the rain is just a little bit farther off towards your west, but please keep that in mind. And again, we're going to circle back and take a look at the models here and how this all plays out in this area coming up in just a little bit. Let's get back over to temperatures here real quickly, and I'll take off the buoy data as we do so. So again, that is one part that we have to keep a close eye on. Now, just like it was late last week, you get towards Dominica South and the moisture is much more limited. Again, that trough is kind of elongated from west to east. So for St. Lucia and Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago, it's been a mainly dry forecast, just a rogue shower here and there. The ABC Islands continue to be hot and dry as well. My friends in Jamaica, we've had a couple of showers across the island here over the last few days, but again, not a lot in the way of some rain. We're trying to get some showers to develop on this Monday afternoon. Kingston right now in at 84 degrees, so thicker clouds and some rain developing on this Monday. That's great news. Let me know in the comments section below if you've actually seen some of those showers. You can see the thicker clouds from Port Antonio, but especially Kingston and Portmore and Spanish Town, Maypen and the Mandeville area. Even on over towards Savannah Lamar here, we've seen some of those thicker clouds. So I'm hoping, excuse me, that we actually pick up some decent showers here. And we'll look at the forecast across Jamaica coming up. We're drying out through portions of Central America after what was a fairly wet stretch of time. And temperatures there will be going up in accordance. And it's going to be some beautiful weather for the Bahamas here. Temperatures are quite lovely from Freeport and Nassau, and plenty of sunshine to go along with things. All right, so let's get into the forecast, friends. Now, there's a few things that I want to kind of break down here. The first thing I am going to show you is the wide perspective of rain. And as I do that, again, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, if you've been looking for the forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas, you found your home here at Meteo Mundo, click that subscribe button right now. So here's how this is going to break down. I'm going to start off with what the rain is going to look like, and then we're going to talk about this extremely interesting weather feature. So going to loop this up. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I thought maybe I had the wrong button, but I don't. So look at this blossom of rain. It's very unusual for April for a couple of reasons. First of all, the moisture content in the atmosphere, it's water loaded compared to what we should be, much more of a summer event. We've already talked about the ocean temperatures are extremely warm. The cooling in the mid-levels and the upper levels of the atmosphere promote the instability, and we also have that wind convergence for more lift in the atmosphere. It all comes together to produce some heavier rain. So let's talk about the heavy rain first, and then what this thing is going to do, which looks something a lot more like we would see in the summer months and in the tropical season. So we'll start off in Hispaniola. So for my friends there in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, again, widespread showers continue on this Monday, the 15th. There will be pockets of heavier rain. Can't rule out against some isolated flooding issues, especially in the higher terrain. Hispaniola is a very mountainous island, and in those areas that quickly collect water, that is going to be a possibility. Now, showers will continue through Wednesday. So tomorrow afternoon, from Punta Cana to Santo Domingo, to Santiago de los Caballeros, even across the border to Port-au-Prince and as far west as Lacaille, we could get some rain and maybe even a rumble of thunder. The rain and the moisture should begin to move away from our area beginning on Wednesday. So kind of beginning to dry out throughout the day on Wednesday, but really not completely dry until either later Thursday or on Friday, where even on Friday, we could see some showers redevelop. But certainly the concentration of the heaviest rain for Hispaniola will be between now and on Wednesday morning to maybe even into the afternoon. For Puerto Rico and the U.S. and portions of the British Virgin Islands, it's about the same scenario. Again, plenty of moisture in the atmosphere to squeeze out this rain. Now, it may not be persistent, but you're going to get waves of rain and several showers each and every day. You could get some rain in the morning, more redeveloping in the afternoon, and even some showers passing across the island during the late evening and the overnight hours. And so that's the thing. You catch 3 showers in one day, and the next thing you know, you got a couple quick inches of rain before it's all said and done. So again, you can see this moisture just spreading on through as we get through Wednesday morning, and then hopefully we'll begin to dry out on Thursday and Friday. But for this area, we got to really watch out. For San Juan, it's an 80% chance for rain to continue throughout this Monday. An 80% chance for showers and even storms. Again, don't be shocked if you hear some thunder tomorrow. Even later tonight, it's a possibility. The rain continues on Wednesday, but I'm hoping we taper it off through the day. And then we do hopefully quickly dry out. As that moisture moves off to the north and to the east, we'll begin to dry out, sunshine will return, and temperatures might warm up just a little bit as well. Now let's swing on over to the British Virgin Islands and portions of the Northern Leeward Islands, and I'll throw this into motion. Again, we have a southeast wind, all right? So we'll continue to see moisture-laden air stream into that area of instability. It'll be spottier rain here. You can see that. It's just not as concentrated, but we've had some strong winds, right? 30, 40 mile an hour winds in this area, and we'll continue to see at least the opportunity for some downpours through Wednesday and then drying out a bit. Before we get into the rest of the islands, I have to take a moment here and just look at this actual feature as it moves away. Notice how it blossoms up and it moves up to the north and to the east. So there's a couple things I want to note about this. First of all, it's not going to become anything tropical, but this is a very unusual feature for this early in the year. I mean, we get blobs of moisture sometimes, right? But there is some twist in the atmosphere with this. I'm going to show you that here in a couple of different ways. The first thing I want to show you are going to be our 100-meter winds, all right? Which means basically, you know what? Let's look at wind gusts. No, we'll look at 100-meter winds. That's fine. All right, so again, sometimes we look at winds in correspondence to pressure levels in the atmosphere, and those pressure levels can rise and lower depending on the temperature profile in the atmosphere. 100-meter winds are 100-meter winds, meaning you're 100 meters above the surface of the earth. What do the winds look like? And you don't really even have to focus so much on the colors. They are representative of the wind speeds at 100 meters. What I really want you to notice here is that there is a low level, watch as we get here, follow this out as it moves away. There's a low level, bit of a twist. It's not much, but there is a little bit of broad spin at the low levels with this system right there. Really easy to see as that model completes its run through Friday. Again, it's kind of a broad trough shear axis, but then as it moves away into the open waters, you get a little bit of a twist. I was taking a look at this thing in a lot of different ways before I recorded this video, and I was very surprised at some of that. Now, this would be wind gusts. Now, first of all, you're going to see this feature here. This is just a mid-latitude cyclone. We still get these in April, okay? They come off the United States East Coast. Even this one here, all right? It's cold cord, right? There's nothing tropical about it. That's not the one. It's this one. It's a much smaller feature, but again, look where its origin is. It's back towards the Leeward Islands and the Greater Antilles, where temperatures and the sea surface temperatures are in the upper 80s. So again, just very unusual that in mid-April we already have this system with a bit of twist. Is it a sign that it's going to be a very active season? Potentially. I mean, again, I wouldn't expect to be tracking something like this until at least next month, if not even June. So we'll see how it plays out. But at least for this one, we get spared with it doing anything except the heavy rain potential it brings to the areas that I already mentioned. But again, I had to take a second and talk about that feature as it's an extremely unusual for this time of the year. By the way, look at all the heavy rain through South America. Man, it's getting heavy rain there, heavy rain. All right, so let's get back into our area forecast. Really spotty showers from Dominica south, Barbados, Trinidad, Tobago. You've had this forecast over the last week or so. That's not going to change. bit of an east to southeast wind, very humid in the afternoon hours. Still some swells off the coastal waters of Barbados, but nothing that I'm extremely concerned about. Some of the rain from the mainland there is going to try and sneak up to the ABC Islands. Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao at least have a slightly better opportunity for a little bit of showers coming up during the week. It's still a mainly dry forecast. It's still a very breezy forecast as well. Okay, Jamaica. Let's talk about your showers. Again, if you remember late last week, I was hopeful to get you some more rain early this week. Well, we already talked about some of the showers that have tried to develop this afternoon for tomorrow afternoon. You know, the model isn't as prominent. Maybe a little bit more moisture coming back in on Wednesday. I'm hopeful of that. I think we're going to get some spotty showers in the afternoon hours. Now today, some of that thicker cloud coverage and at least a few showers moved over Kingston early enough to undercut some of the humidity and heat. That's good news. I'm not saying it's not still hot and sticky outside, but we'll take some of the earlier showers to help cool things off. That's what the GFS model looks like. I do want to show you the other model that I can show you here real quick, and that's going to be the NAM. So give me 1 second here. I want to just extend this out. And sometimes when I show you this, it's because as I've looked at things before I've come back on here, let's see, is it going to cooperate and loop? There we go. There might be a discrepancy in the models that I want to point out. Now, this one here just gives you a little bit better opportunity for more showers, but it's still kind of more of that general easterly track to the rain. And certainly the most significant rain, even on the NAM, you can see begins to pull away. And I'll just let this NAM model run out. I didn't see much of a difference here. We're kind of lucky that the biggest bulk of the significant rain is just north of the islands, but still a lot of prominent showers again through at least Wednesday afternoon. And then kind of on the tail end of this, we get some showers rolling across portions of Jamaica and then portions of the Cayman Islands. It's going to be drying out for Belize and Guatemala and Honduras. I expect a couple of isolated showers there. Temperatures, coastal Belize will be in the upper 80s, inland, San Ignacio, Orange Walk, areas like that, expecting the mid 90s to return, so it's going to get hot. Cancun and Cozumel looks fantastic over the next 5 days as well. I'll switch back over here to the other model just to, again, get you guys so you guys can keep an eye on both situations. I have not seen any big discrepancies in either model as we've played out the scenario here for our northwest areas. The Northwest Caribbean is mainly dry. My friends in the Bahamas will be enjoying some really comfortable conditions as well. A lot of sunshine, virtually dry weather. When you get as far south as the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos, especially the Turks and Caicos, you'll catch some passing showers with this system I've already mentioned. That being said, far enough to the west, nothing that's going to be heavy, nothing that should cause any flooding issues. So now we got to look at our total rain over the next 5 days or so. And this is the early morning hours of Saturday, and that works out just fine. So that is a lot of rain for April. And I mentioned it in an earlier video at the beginning of the month that overall for the Caribbean and the Bahamas, April looked wet. And it's beginning to play out in some of our areas. So we are looking at basically rainfall totals starting starting right now on Monday afternoon through basically Friday. But a lot of this is going to fall between now and Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night at the latest. This is why there is a flood potential. And again, this is not taking into account what has already fallen. This is simply beginning right now. How much more rain are we going to see? And it could be extremely significant for some of these areas. You can see Santo Domingo right now, about 3.5 inches of rain. Punta Cana, maybe up to another little bit here. My cursor decided to freeze, but I'm going to bring it back. Again, 3.5 inches of rain in a couple of spots. Here's the Port-au-Prince area. Again, even there, maybe 1.5 inches of rain. Obviously, the higher terrain, when you're looking at 2 to 3 inches of rain, it could be an issue. Lakai, 1.7 inches. It's a very wet 72 hours ahead for the island. And then maybe just off of the coast, from Samana, just off the coast, we could have some bullseyes of more than 5 inches of rain. And that's up here. Again, I don't expect that to fall over the islands, but you can see the moisture content of that disturbance. Central sides of Puerto Rico, more than 2 inches of rain. San Juan, 1.5 inches. Guayama, 1.5 inches. Arecibo, more than 1 inch of rain. Ponce, it's a little bit less the farther west that you go. Fajardo, Esperanza, Culebra, the coastal islands there, the eastern sides of the islands. Again, solid inch to 2, and it might be underdoing it in a couple of spots. I would, again, broad brush this. I would say 2 to 3 inches of rain. St. Croix, again, more passing showers than consistent rain, but I think the model could be underdoing it as well. Let me know if you live in that area. I know we have some watchers who do. Let me know how you guys are holding up. There's St. Thomas, Charlotte Amalie, St. John, and Cruz Bay. There's our friends in Tortola. We're picking up about an inch there, and that's about what we're going to see in the northern side of the Leeward Islands as well. There's not one area that's more prominent than the other, but you can see down towards Dominica, we get that. Martinique could even have some heavier showers, and then that heavier rain cuts off after that. So again, just broadening this out. Look at all that heavy rain moving away, and it's very easy to see the track. If I were to put this into motion, and I would, but it really kind of slows down the rendering of this computer because there's so much information, you would just see this track move up north and east as that system pulls away. Let's look at Jamaica. It's one other area that I want to talk about for the rain, and again, because it's an east breeze, the model wants to favor the eastern sides of the islands for some heavier rain, but everyone gets in on the act. And again, if you catch a ½ inch to an inch of rain over the next 5 days, that's pretty good. And again, maybe the southern sides of the island, maybe Mandeville and Maypen, slightly better rain chances than Ocho Rios towards Montego Bay as far as rainfall totals go. But again, we'll take what we can get in this scenario. And as I've mentioned, our Northwest Caribbean and the Bahamas will mainly be dry. All right, friends, that's a lot to look at over the next 5 days. You know I got you covered. We got you covered here at Meteo Mundo across social media. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok, X, Facebook. Want to send me a picture or video, any business inquiries, it's mymeteomundo@gmail.com. If you have a specific question about the forecast, you can drop it in the comments section below. I'm happy to answer that. Again, thank you for liking and thank you for subscribing. Have a great rest of your Monday. You know I will see you soon right here at Meteo Mundo.